Kokolioko, chicken they grow for day.
President Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr. officially took office on January 22, 2024. Since then, he has embarked on a mission fueled by a vision for a brighter future for Liberia. His arrest agenda for inclusive development highlights agriculture, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism.
You can't develop a country without roads. There's no way you can expose the opportunities you have without road, without reaching out. Today, you can leave from here, go to Lofa in 7 hours, which hasn't been the case for years. You can go to the southeast, and we want to see more and more of that happen because we have a lot of wealth that has been stolen from our country simply because we don't have access to the inner part of the country. People are going there in our bushes, taking our gold and diamond. We open up the country, we can arrest those situations and make it work for our people.
The president's leadership and vision for fostering collaboration across the three branches of government has been commendable. Through recent meetings, the branches are working as a unified force while respecting their distinct mandates.
One of the other things the president has tried to do has been to reach out and reunite, reconcile the country. And so we started with the three branches of government, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive, coming together to just over dinner to discuss issues that affect coordination, because don't forget these are three equal and coordinated branches of government. And without that coordination element, there could be discord. And so we started with that.
The legislature's collaboration with the executive is critical to achieving real results for the country. As part of this effort, there is a shared commitment to working together with partners in the executive branch to ensure that transparency, accountability, and oversight are prioritized.
In the Senate, our crucial and most important role is the oversight responsibility, and that has been my focus. To be able to execute that role, you have to hold the executive accountable and ensure that there's transparency and accountability. You cannot do that as an institution if your institution is not transparent and we are not accountable. So our first initial reform process, because we have a whole reform process that is ongoing, was to put the Senate to the level where we'll be seen as an integrated institution and to hold ourselves accountable and show some level of transparency. And that will give us the leverage to do that with the institutions that will have oversight.
By aligning resources to support the arrest agenda, the House of Representatives are focusing on key pillars such as modern infrastructure, good governance, the rule of law, and revitalizing the economy.
For the executive aspect, we've already planned to legislate most of those amendments that will be coming to assist in making the arrest agenda a reality. So we're already working on that. We've seen some legislation that we're going to pass upon our return to update and bring the arrest agenda back on par.
The role of the judiciary is fundamental in upholding the rule of law and ensuring justice for all through the interpretation of laws. They can better address national challenges, uphold constitutional rights, and promote the fair and efficient delivery of justice.
The executive branch of government The history will show and prove that it is only this branch of government that continues to stand up for the rule of law in this country, in their support for the judicial branch of government, in what you see here today.
Liberia has made significant strides in strengthening its foreign relations and regional and international partnerships. Efforts to restore the country's image on the global stage have been successful. Liberia secured $210 million through the International Monetary Fund's Extended Credit Facility Program, along with $398.2 million in off-budget assistance.
Well, something we've been able to do in very short time is to give credibility to our voice. And we are now consulted. We are consulted by others as it relates to the Mana River Union and as it relates to ECOWAS. We have had the benefit of engaging very deeply at the level of the EU, with the EU Political and Security Council, all 27 member states of the EU, engaging with them very deeply. I was fortunate to be able to be in that conversation with them where they sought Liberia's views and Liberia's thoughts, and were very interested in how the Mana River Union plays a role. So that was very important in terms of how we position Liberia, but also just strengthening relationships on the continent and relationships across from the continent as well. We were able to launch our bid for the UN Security Council, the non-permanent seat, one of the 2 seats of Africa. We launched that bid in 2024, and we've been able to now start to campaign very, very strongly.
Back at home, good governance forms the spine of President Boakai's arrest agenda, particularly as it relates to the ministers who lead their ministries and agencies.
Okay, so the performance contract that each member in government, or each minister, or each head of agency signed with the president clearly specify the targets that they're going to achieve within this quarter, which was November to January. And there were just 2 targets. Like I said, the service delivery charter, as well as building the capacity of the entity to ensure that, they can achieve or develop the service delivery charter. Come next quarter, now that the National Development Plan has been developed, each agency and ministry will now develop the next quarter performance targets based on the arrest agenda for inclusive development, because we're all part of the design and formulation of the agenda.
The Boakai administration's civil service reform initiative successfully regularized employee status and reduced the reliance on independent consultants, resulting in savings of $4.7 million. This reform led to a notable increase in female representation, raising the percentage of women in ministerial positions to 39%, enhancing gender diversity and inclusion in leadership roles.
We realized that up to the 9,000 people who are currently in the employ of the civil service don't even have a high school diploma. They don't have it. We also realized that more than 6,000 people have only high school documents, nothing more. That is concerning. And so this system we've put in place is going to streamline the recruitment process to make sure that only professionals are brought into the civil service. So if you're a high school graduate, you're not going to be thinking about coming to the civil service anymore, because you're not going to pass the test, no matter any position you want to take the test for, because it's for people with the experience, the knowledge, the education. Yes, you will have to first go to a tertiary institution to be able to gain knowledge, to gain the requisite skills to come to the civil service. What's going to be happening as a result of that? The civil service is only going to be accommodating professionals, people with the requisite background, the professional and cultural fits to serve in critical roles in the civil service. That's a major reform.
These efforts laid the foundation for the implementation of the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, which is to be decentralized throughout Liberia's 15 counties.
We have succeeded in doing a number of things across the country, in the 15 counties for that matter. We have county service centers established to serve our people, where social services have been provided, so that our people don't leave the interior, pay their way to Monrovia just to get simple things. We've been heavily supported by our bilateral and multilateral development partners in the process. So the county service centers have been established. The county councils that make economic decisions for our people, development decisions for our people have been established. They've been trained, and they are very fully in swing movement.
At the heart of the president's Arrest Agenda is agriculture. For him, agriculture is more than a source of food. It's an engine of economic growth, a promoter of food security, and a means to uplift families out of poverty.
At the ministry, we have this project we call the Emergency Rice Production Offensive, the Apple project. For the first time, as the farmers tell me, government last year gave cash to farmers to go and produce. So we embark on supporting farmers to do 1 hectare. So if you had a lowland of 1 hectare, the government gave you a subsidy of $1,000. So we were providing that for that amount to farmers who were into rice production. We were able to sign a contract individually with farmers to produce 1,597 hectares. So each of those farmers who were contracted or who signed an agreement with us received the first 50% payment to do land preparation, and then 30% payment when you've done the land preparation. We give you that for you to carry on transplanting and other things. Then after harvest, we paid about 20%. And that went well with some of the farmers. Some of the farmers did pretty well, and some of them now are harvesting. In fact, they are part of our 4,070 story that we are telling here.
This government maintained 783 kilometers of major roads, ensuring key routes like Buroville to Popolu and Zweju to Kanwekian remain passable. The Roberts International Airport Road project was expanded from 8 to 20 kilometers, and 85% of the Saninkole to Logatuo Road project has been completed.
Road feeds into everything. To deliver economic services, you need roads. To deliver healthcare services, you need roads. To deliver education, you need roads. To deliver agriculture, you need roads. If you don't have proper roads, you won't have agriculture, because there has to be access to market. So road is just a vein of the economy, just a vein of the country that we have to invest in. So there is a good reason why road is prioritized, and we see that as important, and that is why in the Arrest Agenda, the agenda that focuses on inclusive development, we are saying within the next 5 years, we want to do up to 485 kilometers of road. But I can tell you, for the program that we have in place, we will do more than that.
The Ministry of Transport has made progress in enhancing the regulatory framework for the aviation sector.
For the first time in so many years, I think since 2014, we brought Ethiopian Airlines that have reduced the price of airfares in the country, I believe, by a good percentage. My numbers is telling me around 24%. You see, before, in the sector, we needed to increase competition. And Ethiopian Airlines increased competition. Today, I can happily report to you and the Liberian people that the cost of airfare from Monrovia to Washington, D.C. or New York is $1,190 by Ethiopian Airlines if you buy a ticket from before a 2-week period. You see that other airlines were charging more. I have business people calling me and say the round trip ticket to Dubai is around $960. So you see the huge drop in the price. And transportation affects disposable income, the last part of the money in your pocket. That's why you were used to actually go and buy the ticket. So for business people, it's good. For the country, it's good. And in that same vein, Liberia was exposed to more than 150 destinations worldwide.
In 2024, President Boakai made a historic move by signing Executive Order 131 to establish the Office of Liberia's first War and Economic Crimes Court. This court aimed to uncover the causes and effects of the country's violent past while bringing justice and healing to its people.
The systematic manner in which the president has tried to re-establish institutions, reconstruct society. And I think one of the biggest achievements is the courage that the president had in the promulgation of the executive order establishing the Office for the War Crimes Court. I think that was one of the biggest achievements. And it also goes to the character of the man, that justice is served.
Concurrently, the Ministry of Justice is focused on crime reduction and ensuring police officers and county attorney alike receive regular salaries.
Our prosecution department, we tried about 116 cases in 2024. We won. The government, Liberia, the Ministry of Justice won 106 of those cases. So we think that's sending a signal out there that we will not tolerate crime. Some of these crimes range from wider economic sabotage, tax evasion, the whole 9 yards. We even had the ECOWAS codes. ECOWAS code have 4 cases that we have won 2. We have 2 pending. We're able to provide 21 vehicles for our county attorneys. Yes, we are improved upon that. That would be a motivating thing, get an incentive that, yes, the government trying to provide the resources for you to do your job.
The Liberia National Police is also eradicating corruption within its ranks, building officer capacity, and focusing on community-based policing.
We've increased our accountability and transparency in acting and dealing with the citizens. We have accelerated our community engagement, bringing on the voices of people, specifically young people, who are constantly involved with law enforcement challenges. So with that, we've seen a little bit of an increase.
In the education sector, the government has made substantial progress in both primary and secondary education. A key achievement was clearing $1 million in scholarship arrears, covering vast fees for students. In higher education, plans have been initiated to renovate the University of Liberia alongside efforts to establish an endowment fund for long-term improvements.
I'm particularly proud of is the vetting of folks that are going to be at the helm of operating our school system. So we were able to make sure that that process was done by qualified educators who vetted education officers with the quality that we need in our classrooms, and also administrating the county level and district level operations. The other is cost savings that we've done since taking over as it relates to scholarships. When we took over, there were people on scholarships who have far expanded their time that they should have been abroad, going to school. So we've been able to look at the data, how many of these people have overstayed, if I should say, and haven't completed their program. Do the government continue to take on the responsibility for someone that have gone to a program that should have completed in 4 years or 5 years and have not completed? No.
Liberia's Ministry of Youth and Sports achieved key milestones in youth empowerment, vocational training, and sports development over the past year.
You know, working with partners, especially the donors, and doing benchmarking and comparative analysis, it became imminent that there's a need to harmonize and have a single national TVET center. As it is, TVET is being regulated by two functionaries of government. The Ministry of Education has a TVET component and the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Of course, we are heavily concentrated with youth TVET operations. But there was a need based on our studies and based on all of the engagements we have had with the partners and the line ministries involved. We all resolved there was a need to set up, as a government, like other countries, a national TVET commission. But that required legislative approval. So we worked with the office of the president, and the draft bill was submitted and forwarded to the legislature. Fortunately for us, as we speak, within the space of the 9 months since we took over, the lower house, the House of Representatives, passed the bill and is currently before the Senate.
President Boakai has taken significant steps to promote gender equality and social protection in Liberia. Notably, he appointed retired Brigadier General Geraldine Janet George as the first female Minister of National Defense and Attorney Kula Bonayen Fofana as the first female Presidential Press Secretary, marking a historic milestone.
2024, the year under review, the Ministry of Gender was able to do a lot of, make a lot of progress towards programmatic activities that would trickle down to the communities. Fortunately for us, we were able to disperse the initial amount of $1.8 million to our lead service provider, Plan International, to provide services, to commence services to women in 700 communities that particularly will focus around promoting women's empowerment through livelihood activities, including small businesses and addressing social norms, especially that most of what women suffer across the country is primarily, rooted in our belief system, our everyday cultural practices.
Water and sanitation efforts saw the restoration of Monrovia's city reservoir and the expansion of water system in communities such as Bourgeois Island and Rock Hill.
We set up first to regularize water supply. And two of the major things we have with water supply, regular water supply, was one, electricity supply to the White Plain Water Treatment Plant. Two, the regular supply of chemicals. So regularize chemical supply by getting a new vendor who was very capable and was supplying us very constantly. And then we had an arrangement with the Liberia Electricity Corporation to have a definite schedule of supply of electricity, and we're able to align our work schedule with that. With that, we're able to regularize water supply. The next thing, we repair our city reservoir of Duko, which has a capacity to hold 1 million gallons. And we usually pump water there and discharge to Central Monrovia. At least it's not 24 hours yet, but at least people get water for up to 9 hours every day in Central Monrovia. In the coming years, we intend to construct water supply system in every county capital city. Over the next 5 years, we as part of the ARREST agenda, we want to construct a new sewage treatment plant. And that sewage treatment plant will be able to convert the hard part of the feces to fertilizer and also extract methane gas, which can be used as cooking gas in the homes.
For President Boakai, transparency is a key focus area of the arrest agenda, with significant progress made in improving financial accountability.
In the first year in the budget, we decided to prioritize key sectors: the health sector, the security sector, education to some extent. In fact, the judiciary has started to put salaries, put income, monies to regularize the salaries of judges, some of which were slashed, precipitously. Started to pay all those government-related obligations. So those projects are moving on. You see the quota road moving deeper and deeper into Nimba to Grand Jide is on account of the actions we've taken. We have some funding commitment from the African Development Bank. They are doing some feasibility studies for the road from Buchanan to Greenville to Harper. And if we generate or raise the funds that we plan to raise, that stretch of the road will also be paved.
The Boakai administration has made significant progress in the mining sector. A recent survey revealed promising deposits of lithium, silver, nickel, and uranium. In response, there has been a renewed focus on combating illicit mining and improving governance within the sector.
In fact, we just concluded a complete negotiation with some of the mining companies, major mining companies, the mineral development agreements of some of the companies. We just concluded 2. And very soon the president should be announcing to Liberians and the world about new investments. And fortunately for us, we have prospects. What we have with support from the Chinese government, we now know our mineral potential, at least in a contemporary sense.
Over the past year, the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company has committed to infrastructural development and operational stability. LPRC began construction of a 12,800 metric ton gasoline storage tank and a modern petroleum testing laboratory to boost storage capacity and ensure fuel quality.
Altogether, this government has reduced or removed 25 cents from the petroleum pricing structure in order to prevent, the overall increase in the cost of living and, of course, overall increase in the pump price of petroleum product. Hopefully, when Liberia gets a new refinery, the benefits are going to be enormous. Many. One, our country will not suffer from shortage of petroleum products. 2, when we discover oil in commercial quantity as a nation, we will at least drill it. We will get the crude oil. Then, when we extract the crude oil, we will be able to refine it right in Liberia. We're not taking it anywhere. You understand? So that is a very immense opportunity that will be there for our people. It's going to create job, because when we establish the refinery, it leads to job creation. You understand? Many Liberians will have the opportunity to get work to do.
The National Port Authority is leading the charge. In addition to prioritizing job creations, workforce training, and environmental sustainability, is solidifying its role as a catalyst for Liberia's economic development and global trade competitiveness.
Important things we did when we got here was to put a very competent MAE team together to work with APMT to understand the intricacies of their operation and the portion that it fed us. For example, if you're getting $10, the rate, our portion of that $10, if it's $2, we want to make sure we are getting that. So by that collaboration, we saw a 12% increment in concession revenue from APM Terminals, who happens to be our biggest partner. So everything is tied to how efficient the port is, how much money we invest in the port, and in return, the country get more money from the port. Every sector of the country will be impacted from an efficient, improved National Port Authority.
Over the past year, the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism worked to enhance Liberia's cultural heritage and tourism sector.
For 2 decades, we've not been able to attract any tourists in this country. Never. We were able to, for the first time in 2 decades, bring 115 tourists a year. They were from America, they were from Russia, they were from Greece, they were from different countries, I think 6 or 7 different countries. This was not just achieved by the ministry because we worked in concert with the Liberian National Tourism Association called LINTA. So we brought them here for the first time. They brought some visibility to our tourism sector because they were able to see a lot. We expect more of those kinds of visits to take place, but that happened after more than 2 decades. We just signed an MOU with the War Monument Forum, they're from New York, for the total rehabilitation and transformation of the Providence Island into a heritage site. That project, when implemented, will cost around $7 million. So just think about it a little bit and imagine that $7 million is invested into a small place, the Providence Island.
President Boakai and his cabinet are dedicated to ensuring that every Liberian benefits from the country's development.
I don't want Liberians always yearning to go to other places. We can create them here. We can create the opportunities here. And we have the resources to manage them well for the Liberian people. And we are committed to that.
2024 has been a year of bold steps, a year of arrest in action, and together we are building the Liberia we deserve. Thank Liberia, love Liberia, and build Liberia.